Everyone, sorry about the slight delay, technical problems here. Great to see you all. Hope you had a good summer. Great to see you back at Development Control Committee. I'm, as you know, County Councillor Matthew Maxwell Scott, Chairman of the committee, and welcome to County Hall. There's just a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. We're not expecting a fire alarm, so if you do hear it, leave the building quietly and calmly. The exits are indicated by the green signs, and you should follow the corridor round and down the main stairs. We assemble in the main car park to the rear of County Hall. Please make sure your phones, tablets, other mobile devices are on silent or off to avoid disturbing other people. There are usual warnings about filming, but there are no members of the public here, so I think we can probably shave a bit of time off there. Please do speak directly into the microphones after turn them on, and then switch them off when you've finished speaking. Apologies, we have had an apology from County Councillor Cox, but no others. So that's item 1. Item 2, disclosure of pecuniary and non-pecuniary interests. Could I ask you to consider any interests you might have and disclose them to the meeting in relation to matters under consideration on the agenda. Councillor Yates. Lovely, thank you. Anything else from anyone else? No, good, thank you for that. Item 3, the minutes of the meeting held on the 21st of July. Asked to agree those. As you know, the correct minutes have now been circulated and paper copies should have been made available to you. Councillor Clark. Good. And seconded by Councillor Pope. Thank you very much indeed. Item 4, updated. There are no updates, hence there's no update sheet for you today. Item number 5, again, we've had communication on this. It's requested that consideration of this application, LCC 2020-61, be deferred to a later meeting of the committee. Could I have a proposer? Councillor Rigby, Councillor Clark, thank you very much indeed. Oh,
just do a vote.
Yes, sorry, thank you. Now we just need to vote on that. So the vote proposed by Councillor Rigby and seconded by Councillor Clark.
Yeah, so if we just do a show of hands as we normally do. So all those in favour of the deferral, please raise your hand. That's duly counted.
Thank you very much. Item number 6 is Lancaster City Council application LCC 2021-23. This is the proposed classroom extension, including replacement and relocation of existing fencing and the relocation of 2 car parking spaces at the Loyne Specialist School, Sefton Drive, Lancaster. Jonathan, you to present, please.
Yes, just sorry, Chair. We do have some IT problems again because the laptop just lost the connection with the webcasting. So can we just ask to pause for a few minutes? And
yes, certainly. Under further technical difficulties, should we pause with the 5 minutes at that point? I'm sorry about this. Thanks, everyone. councillors. We are back online. If you're all happy to begin again. As I was so politely interrupted, we're on item 6, which is the proposed classroom extension at Loyne Specialist School in Lancaster. Jonathan, say with some slight trepidation.
Thank you, Chair. I think we're okay now. Ross is doing the IT stuff, so it should be okay. So this is Loyne School in Lancaster, which is the existing special school, which is located to the north of Lancaster city centre. It's shown on the first plan, please. Okay. Right. Yeah. Screen.
This isn't the correct one, is it? This is item 7, is it not? Just bear with us a little bit longer. Well, I was going to say, with subject to the committee's views, we could move on to item 7 and come back to item 6. Is that in order?
Yeah.
Are we happy with that? In that case, moving on to the new item 6, the old item 7, South Ribble Borough application number LCC 2021-29. It's the creation of a new car park with 2.4 metre high security fencing and gates at Lever House County Primary School, Bristol Avenue, Farrington. Jonathan, please can you present that one?
Okay, thank you, Chair. So Lever House Primary School is located to the north of Leyland Town Centre. The school is located on a site between Bristol Avenue and the M6 motorway. So just on the slide here, so you can see there, this is Leyland Town Centre here, the M6 here, with the school located in this site here, which occupies a site which includes an area of reasonably large playing fields. So the second slide shows the site in a bit more detail. So this application is for replacement car park for 26 spaces, which will be located on part of the school playing field, which you can see to the north of the school playing field there, next to Bristol Avenue. The existing school building is located between Bristol Avenue and the playing fields, with the M6 beyond to the east. So the M6 is just off the side of the slide there. You can see the playing fields here. The Pros car park located in this area here. The current car park is in this area here. And what the school want to do is to make a larger area of hard playground. So they wish to convert the current car park to a playground and then build a new replacement car park on part of the playing field. Shown on the next photograph, which is an air photograph. So again, this shows the application site, the location of the Pros car park on part of the playing field, and also the houses on Bristol Avenue to the north. The aim of this development is to provide an extended playground area over part of the existing car park, which therefore necessitates a replacement car park on part of the playing field. So again, you can see here, the nearest houses on Bristol Avenue to the north. This is the replacement car park here, and there's an area of length of fencing here. And this is the current car park here. And what the school want to do is to create a larger area of hard and soft play surface on this area here, which obviously requires replacement car parking. The school wish to develop in this area here. You can see here the school buildings here. This is quite a substantial primary school, which I think accommodates about 315 pupils maximum capacity. Again here you can see Bristol Avenue here with the houses located down the side of the road. This next slide shows the design of the new car park and the conversion of the current car park into play space. This will be directly adjacent to the existing playground to create a single enlarged area. The number of parking spaces in the new car park will be broadly the same as the number that would be lost. So again, you can see here, this is the Pros new car park here, and the existing car park is in this area. The school want to split that into two areas. There'll be a hard surfaced playground here and an area of soft play to the south. This is the existing school building here with a playing field to the south here. These next slides show just some photographs of the site. So the pictures here show the existing playground, which is proposed to be converted to, the existing car park, which is supposed to be converted to a playground. And again, some similar views in there. You will see from the report that the impact of the playing field is the main issue with this application. Sport England have objected to the application, and paragraph 99 of the National Planning Policy Framework states that existing playing fields should not be built upon unless they are surplus to requirements, or the lot will be replaced by equivalent or better provision, or the development is for alternative sports and recreation provision. Sport England do not consider that any of the exemptions in their playing fields policy apply. Whilst existing playground provision does not appear to, does appear to meet government standards. These are minimum standards of provision, and the school wish to have more playground space in order to improve safety and provide more play space for pupils. Use of the existing car park is a logical area to use, as it would provide for a single area playground rather than the playground space being spread around different parts of the school. It is considered important that the car parking is replaced, as otherwise there will be adverse impacts on the local highway network, which is a concern raised by the local resident that you'll see referred to in the report. It can be seen that the Pros car park is at the top corner of the playing field. So I'll just jump back to the earlier slide. Top corner of the playing field, and therefore the impacts on the existing playing field have been minimised. It appears that there will still be room to accommodate a number of marked out sports facilities on the field. Also, there will be some loss of playing field, and therefore conflict with paragraph 99 of the National Planning Policy Framework. On balance, it's considered that the benefits of the proposal outweigh any conflict with the policy. The existing landscape along the northern boundary site will be retained, and therefore the impacts on the houses to the north on Bristol Avenue would be acceptable. So you can see there, just on the slide there, you can see the houses here, and there is some landscaping comprised of a hedge and trees there that will be retained, and therefore there will be adequate landscaping for these properties. You will see that we have received one objection from a local resident who is concerned about parking and traffic issues. However, the issues raised by the resident are beyond the scope of this application, and the car park aims to ensure that existing levels of staff parking are maintained, and therefore issues of on-street parking are not exacerbated. Therefore, on balance, it's considered that this proposal should be supported, subject to the conditions set out in the report. However, due to the conflict with the playing fields policy of Sport England, it will be necessary to refer the application to the Secretary of State. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Any questions? Councillor Pope.
Yeah, on the second paragraph on page 59, it talks about the residents raised a number of issues, and in the final sentence, it's saying while the issues raised are noted, they are not matters that can be addressed through this application. Can you tell us how those matters will be addressed? I mean, generally, I would say that this seems a better use of the land and will clearly give additional playground space for the children. So I would generally support it, but I'd just like to know how this residents' issues will be dealt with, please.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yes, I think the first point to make is that by seeking to replace the existing car parking provision, there'll be no detriment to the existing issues. So this proposal doesn't make the car parking problems on the network any worse. It seeks to maintain existing levels of staff provision, and therefore the effect on local highway network should be neutral. The other issues raised by the residents are really to do with enforcement of sort of car parking, and they're really not issues for that have been dealt with by this application. It's really matters for sort of highways or the police to address, really, if there is dangerous issues of parental parking, or it's the things for the school to address, by better liaison with the parents to encourage more responsible patterns of highway use.
Thank you. Is that Councillor Clark?
Yeah, I've got a slight concern. It actually shows up on page 68 of the picture. There's actually existing fencing around the car parking at the moment. Are they allowing for this fencing now to actually be taken for the safety of the pupils and what have you? You can see there's like a step and everything. Will that be made flat and flattened out properly? Because we don't want to be leaving a step or a fence in a playground area. And I want to ensure that we do have a fencing around the new car parking area so that it protects the pupils from the car park area. So is there any provision in the planning for fencing and the playground to be made flat? Thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan, can you help on this?
Yes, I'll try. Yes, as a part of this proposal, the school would do works to the existing car park to make it suitable for the playground space. Part of it involves splitting the car park to create a hard play area and a soft play area. So there would be some resurfacing work carried out to ensure that it's safe for pupils to use. The current fencing would be maintained in a position because that helps to separate the play area from the playing field. So I hope that answers your questions.
Thank you. Councillor Potter.
Thank you very much. If you go 2 slides down from that one, I'm actually, I have very little problem with this. Thank you, that one. Yeah. I have very little problem with this proposal because I think they are replacing what they are losing. One thing, I just want to make sure I'm interested in Sports England's objections. They seem, given that you are getting a new play area that will allow you to do newer sports, whether that's basketball or things like that, to be provisioned in the future. So the picture there that's on the left, I mean, I don't know this area, but it doesn't look like it's a particularly vital patch of playground. Is there anything I'm missing there? There's no track coming through, there's no football pitch there, anything like that? It just seems to be the corner. So for me, there doesn't seem to be much loss of amenity on this application. Could you confirm that, please?
Yes. What they're seeking to ensure is that grass pitches are safeguarded, because they say that Sporting's policy is that grass pitches provide the maximum amount of flexibility in terms of being able to be used for a variety of sporting uses. They've been marked out football or athletics tracks, or for all number of different sporting activities, and that's what they're concerned to safeguard. And what they're saying is that because the playground space, whilst that would provide play area for primary school kids, it's not marked out in any way for any formal sport, and therefore the conversion of the part of the playing field to car park, that's not being addressed by any sort of similar improvement in sporting facilities at the school. If, say, the school were seeking to build a mugger on the car park, and that could be used for different sporting uses, then Sporting then may reach a different conclusion. But because the play area is just being used for general play, you haven't got that sort of replacement in Sporting use of the site. So that's a basis on which they object to the application.
Thank you both. Yeah, I think actually the Sports England policy is slightly discriminatory against the northwest of England, frankly, because it does rain an awful lot. So the waterlogging issue is significant. But also, according to Councillor Clark, this is true, he's saying that if you replace greenery with AstroTurf, it counts double. Is that correct? Because I thought that's very interesting. Is that correct, Councillor Clark?
They actually allow that AstroTurf actually increases your allowance than grass.
We'll learn something. Councillor Murphy.
Hi, can you hear me? I'll switch this thing on. I noticed in the photographs and in the conditions, there wasn't any mention of adequate signage on this to manage traffic movements in and out of what looks to be a fairly tight junction, and then in and out of the car park, which seems to be an issue which bedevils quite a lot of schools and will end up being a cause of concern and several complaints from local residents when you get dangerous vehicular movements in and out of this location. So this is a plea for an additional condition for adequate signage to ensure effective vehicular movements in and out of the car parking area, and also warning motorists sufficiently not far in advance of the approach to the car park that it actually exists, kind of thing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is that something that could come within the scope of this application in terms of a condition? And if so, what sort of condition could potentially be suggested?
Yes, possibly, but I would just question why it's really necessary, because if you look at the slide I've just shown now, the actual access to the car park isn't being changed. The access from the public highway, that's remaining as currently in place. So that will have signage about for star parking and other issues. So those signs will, if they're there, will still be in place to guide the use of the new parking area. So I question why we need new signage and what its purpose would be.
Are you, Councillor Murphy, are you satisfied that the existing signage should be
No.
adequate? You're not.
No.
Is this
As a vociferous campaigner on road safety issues and discussing this with close colleagues, friend Dave, who calls himself the Officer for the Bleeding Obvious, made the point to me last night that we need to really improve signage for car parking in front of and on skilled car parks going forward. And
I
I'll
think
continue to make
accepting
that
that,
issue.
Councillor Murphy, sorry to interrupt. I mean, I think I'm sure we're all absolutely as keen on road safety as you are. The only thing is on this particular, are we aware there is actually an issue here? Councillor Clark.
After listening to all the debate on this, I would like to move the motion that we actually improve. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that sounds sensible. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Murphy, are you satisfied? I think I feel the view of the committee seems to be that.
The room appears to be against me.
I'm afraid on this occasion it might be. Kerry, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, Councillor. Of course, if you want to propose the extra condition, then you can, and it will obviously need to be seconded in the same way that the proposal has just been before us. So if you want to do that, you can put that on the table now before we move to the vote. I think the only caveat I would put on that is, like what Jonathan said, is that the existing entrance isn't part of the planning permission here, so we'd have to be very careful as to what you put in. But if you want to put that forward, we can always.
As I said previously, I feel the room's against me, so I won't do that.
Nonetheless, your points are noted, I'm sure. Lovely. Well, proposed by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor Pope. Over to you again, Kerry.
Thank you. So just to be clear, the vote is for the offerer's recommendation that, subject to the Secretary of State not calling in the application for his own determination, planning permission be granted. All those in favour, show of hands, please. That's been carried.
Thank you. Now, are we able to return to item 6? Is our IT going to play ball this time? Just give us another moment, please, committee. Excellent news. Right. Back to item number 6, Lancaster City Council application LCC 2021 number 23. This is, we hope, the proposed classroom extension, including replacement and relocation of existing fencing, and relocation of 2 car parking spaces at the Loyne Specialist School in Lancaster. Jonathan, please could you present?
So this is a existing. So this is the Loyne School in Lancaster, which is just to the north of Lancaster City Centre. The school is located off Sefton Drive with another primary school called Rylands, which is located immediately to the north. You can see here, this is centre of Lancaster here, with the River Lune here. The school is located here, just off Sefton Drive. And the school is located in this location here, with the Rylands primary school located here. So this slide shows the site in a bit more detail, including the various elements of this application. You can see there the main school building, which is located sort of mainly parallel to Sefton Drive. So what's proposed here is there's 3 elements to this. One is a extension to the existing building here. There's some fencing here being realigned to take in part of the playing fields which belong to Rylands. Also, there's some replacement car parking because the site of the extension is currently 2 parking spaces, so the school are aiming to replace the parking spaces lost by building 2 new spaces here just next to Sefton Drive. So this slide just shows an air photograph of the site. Again, you can see the 3 parts of the proposal and the proximity to Sefton Drive, from which we have received 1 representation. Again, you can see the fencing here, which will be 1.8 metre high paladin fencing, weld mesh fencing, which runs down the boundary of the school. This is the current school building here with the proposed extension in this area here, with the 2 parking spaces off Sefton Drive there. So this slide shows the elevations of the proposed building. So you can see here it's a relatively small extension to the building, measuring with a ground floor area measuring approximately 10 metres by 7.5 metres, with a height to match the existing school building and with the materials to match the adjoining existing school building. This building is required due to increased demand for places at the school. The school caters for pupils with special needs. So firstly, this slide here shows the proposed area for the extension, which is this area here. So these are the 2 parking spaces that will be lost extension. So this is the existing school building here. So this gap will just be filled in here, is shown in this area here. This is the replacement car parking area here, with Sefton Drive beyond. So again, you can see this is the view from Sefton Drive, where you can see the proposed extension is set well back into the site. So that's the extension area there. There's a quite considerable distance between the nearest houses on Sefton Drive and the extension, and therefore there will be no adverse visual impacts for local residents. The new extension would require the removal of 1 tree, which the applicant proposes to replace through planting elsewhere on the school site. This is the tree to be removed here. The new building also requires the relocation of existing boundary fencing. The fence will be moved further to the east, which takes in part of the playing field, which belongs to Rylands Primary School. But the design and fencing will be an improvement on existing palisade fencing. Again, here you can see the existing fencing here, which is quite a industrial style fencing. It's proposed to replace it with 1.8 metre high weld mesh fencing, which is generally considered to be a more sort of visually appropriate fencing for a school site. Just to conclude, paragraph 95 of the National Planning Policy Framework states it's important that there is sufficient choice of school places to meet the needs of communities, and this development would meet this aim. The extension is small scale and will be of acceptable visual appearance. The application is brought before you due to an objection from a resident who is concerned about traffic and parking issues. Whilst the extension might lead to a small increase in pupil numbers at the school, the majority of pupils, due to this being a special school, are transported by bus, and therefore a significant increase in traffic not expected. The application should therefore be supported, subject to the conditions set out in the report.
Thank you, Jonathan. Any questions on this? Councillor Yates.
Could I move approval with conditions, please, Stuart?
You certainly can. Councillor Patterson has a question.
Can I second it, please?
You can, certainly. Anyone got any other comments or observations? It's by Councillor Potter.
Just a very quick one before Barry gets off. Obviously, one of the key things about to recognising this thing is it's a special school. And with ever increasing needs and equipment needed for special schools, doing moderations like this might make the difference between someone in a complex wheelchair being able to turn and not. So actually, it's really important that we kind of support schools that are trying to increase the facility, especially if they're special schools. So I agree with this proposal.
Thank you. I think those are very good sentiments indeed. So we have a proposer in Councillor Yates, a seconder in Councillor Patterson. Kerry.
Thank you, Chair. So we'll move to the vote, and the vote is the recommendation as set out on the report is the officer's recommendation that planning permission be granted. So all those in favour, please, by way of a show of hands. Okay, that's everybody. Thank you. That's been carried.
Lovely, thank you. Moving back now to item 8. Those are the planning decisions taken by the Head of Planning and Environment in accordance with the County Council scheme of delegation. This is just for the committee to note. Councillor Yates.
Noted, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Yates. There's no urgent business, so item 10, date of next meeting is the 20th of October in Committee Room B. I look forward to seeing you all there, and with the IT absolutely slick as possible then, I'm sure. Thank you all very, very much indeed. Enjoy the weather.